Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to this amazing session on a virtual CPE for meeting on assessment and CIT appeal faceless, how to handle the same and recent decisions of ITAT. Today we are joined with our chairman CA Lalit Bajaj, the speaker for today CA Neelkanth Khandelwal, along with us the coordinators Utkarsh Sharma and Shivratan Singh Rodia, and we also have a special guest with us, CA Mithil Choksi sir, the past chairman of WRC. We welcome all of you, and Mithil sir, we welcome you today in this CPE meeting. I think at the outset, New Year greetings to all of you, since I'm interacting for the first time on CPE now. So Happy New Year to all of you. And this 21, I'm sure I'm right now coming from the auditorium at BKC. So we are making sure that we come back in this 21 again in this lovely place. On this occasion, I would first request our chairman Bajaj to please address the gathering. Over to you, Chairman sir.
Thanks, Arpit. Past Chairman WIRC, CA Mithil Choksi sir, learned faculty for the day, Neelkanth Khandelwal, my colleague in the council, Arpit Kabra, coordinators of the program, Shivratan Singh Rodia, Utkarsh Sharma, seniors, friends and colleagues. At the outset, I would like to welcome all of you in this August gathering on virtual CP meeting on assessment and CIT assessment faceless, how to handle the same and recent decisions of ITAT. Faceless assessment has been spoken about a lot since last few months, and as on today, faceless assessment has become a compulsion and we all have to undergo and accept and face this faceless assessment on behalf of our SSE. We as chartered accountants, when we deliberated with officers at Income Tax ITAT, a common thing which came to our notice was that we as chartered accountants, when we represent our SSEs in the department, before this, when we used to submit physical documents, and now we will be assessing faceless virtually. So I think so somewhere or the other, the common concern was the writing skills of all the members. And I believe, and we have already ensured that we could plan a couple of programs whereby we can really enrich all our members to upskill the writing skills as far as the representations and submissions with various departments is concerned. This is one of the initiative of WIRC as far as this program is concerned, to make the members well versed about the various provisions and intricacies of faceless assessment. And Neelkanth Khandelwal being on board, I believe he will thoroughly and surely justify the subject as far as updating knowledge on this subject is concerned. Today is a very special day for all of us because we are blessed by the efforts and initiative of our vice chair, past chairman Mithil Choksi, who have taken tireless efforts and come out with a publication, The New Normal for Practicing CA, Digital and Paperless Office. We are going to unveil this publication with the gracious hands of our author come past chairman Mithil Choksi sir. At this point of time, I would like to compliment and acknowledge the efforts put in by Mithil Choksi sir, Nikunj Shah, CA Priyanshi Choksi, CA Parth Choksi, J Vakil, P Shrikant. And I would really like to congratulate each and every member for getting this facility, whereby we will really be able to understand as to, if we are going in a paperless office, what are the systems and procedures which we have to undergo for successfully moving ahead with a paperless office. I would like to share one more important information. Today morning in one virtual program, we have inaugurated one more publication of WIRC e-publication, which is Anthology of Ind AS Accounting Policies. whereby we have tried to compile accounting policies followed by 58 companies which represent 23 industries, with a simple thought that we chartered accountants have to ensure that our clients are following all the relevant accounting policies. And there is a search engine available in that anthology whereby you can search a particular policy related to a particular section or a particular industry. So I would request all the members do take benefit of all these initiatives of WIRC. Over and above this, we are doing lot many activities and taking lot many initiatives. Do participate and contribute, and wherever you feel so you need to give any suggestion, do write to us at wirc@ici.in. It will really enable us to provide more and much more better services to members and students. With this, I once again welcome all of you and congratulate each one of you for all the initiatives at WIRC. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. And rightly mentioned, this is the time, this is the era where we've all been talking about our skills as representation and our skills in drafting. They would come to the forefront, and therefore we have very suitably designed this program as well. And with the support of all of us, I'm sure we will empower all our chartered accountants and especially the young ones to start, maybe improvising on the drafting skills. And to come next, as mentioned, today, as rightly put in by the chairman, one of the finest publications again, and the most relevant publications that we've got with our past chairman, sir. I would request to let's unveil that publication in front of all of us by the august hands of Mithil Bhai. Yes, thank you and congratulations WIRC and congratulations Mithil Bhai. Thank you very much and all the contributors. I could see Priyanshi also along, but I think she's just maybe she's not available on screen now. So the publication, the new normal for practicing CA, digital and paperless office. So I would request Mithil Bhai to please share some thoughts on this publication and also give a background about the entire efforts that we've taken for this publication. Over to you, Mithil.
Thank you, Chairman Lalit Bajaj ji, CA Dynamic Arpit Kabra, my faculty of the WIRC for today. E-assessments being very, very relevant. And I think one of the problems that we are facing in e-assessments is we receive a notice on Friday at 7 p.m. to deliver and submit our submissions by Sunday at 12 or 11 a.m. So how do we tackle that? You please help us in tackling such situations. Because once Friday, if we switch off our emails at 7 o'clock, then how do we reply until Monday? So that is one issue which we are facing as an industry. Coming to our the other coordinators of the event, CA Utkarji and CA Sivratan ji, very nice seeing you, all of you. So just to give you introduction, frankly, in this entire authoring of this book and doing the research, my daughter CA Priyanshi, who has concluded CA last year with a rank, is there, and my son, who's already completed his inter and now he's going to appear for final as a CA student, is also there. So they are the ones who've done all the research under my guidance. Along with me, there have been a couple of other colleagues on the IT side who have done. Essentially, what happened, we all know in the last 8-9 months what we've gone through, and the entire eco space within which and the environment within which we have been working has transformed. Today we are doing stock audits remotely. Correct me if I'm wrong. Today we are doing ASMs remotely. Today we are doing bank audits using technology. Today every second person knows what is a VPN. I mean, 1 year back we used to think, oh my God, what's a VPN? Today, everybody knows that what is digital evidence. Today, how do we save files? Today, everybody knows what is inbox, outbox in terms of courier. We don't have any manual registers in the office because we don't have an office today. So this is the new normal for chartered accountants. And therefore, today, how do we as a practicing CA try to transform our practices? I'm sure most of us have already done it, but there needs to be some hypothesis, some paper for discussion which one can use and one can expand on. And therefore, the entire publication focuses on what are the models that are available, what are the applications that are available, not only in terms of, one is for your creating your own cloud, building your own database on the cloud, but also what other applications you can integrate. so that what is your destination, what is your source data and your destination data, what is your destination location, all of that is something which you have tried to model. I hope we find it useful. I hope CAs are able to, all of us, our fraternity is able to upscale ourselves to be much better than what they are last year in terms of the new normal. And with this publication, which gives examples, scenarios, hypothesis of what kind of remote auditing can be undertaken, how it can be undertaken, what are the possible areas where one can look at using other applications, external applications, is all covered and encompassed in this entire you book, not only from a external interface perspective with the audit, with the auditee, but from the perspective of how to also build one's office. And therefore that's the new normal. This is I'm so thankful to WRC, because it always gives platform to any such innovations and any such innovative ideas and incubate such idea. And therefore I really I'm thankful to WRC for giving this opportunity to all of us. When during lockdown, when the phone came from Manish Gadia, representing Lalit Bajaj ji, chairman of WRC, and he said that मिथिल भाई क्या कर सकते हो आप लॉकडाउन में, हमारे लिए कुछ करो WRC के लिए. I said, अरे बाबा, WRC तो हम तो WRC है, we are a part of WRC, we've grown here. जान हाजिर है, आप बोलो क्या करना है, बोलो कुछ नया करो. तो मैं बोला ठीक है, ये एक नया पब्लिकेशन कर सकते हैं, रिसर्च कर सकते हैं. And with this, thank you so much for a patient hearing, and I do hope that we can add a lot of value to our entire practices all over India, all over and be the bestest chartered accountants that we always are, and we always will continue to be. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to speak for 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, past chairman sir. Really, I'm sure we'll all look up to this publication, and we'll derive value. And friends, we are ready here in the BKC auditorium, and very soon we'll host you here as well. And therefore, the entire testing and all this phase is going on, sanitization and everything. So see you around very soon on these in this also. Now, may I request Utkarsh Sharma ji?
Arpit, may I request you to announce our student conference event so that members can enable their students to register for the program?
Sure, Chairman sir. As you all are aware, it's an annual event, the regional conference that we've done for members, and now the most awaited event for one of the biggest, one of the largest students association, that is the Vikasa. Yes, we have announced that 14th and 15th January is what we are having a national conference. This national conference is a very futuristic national conference. One, the logistics also futuristic, because we are having it physical and virtual both. So we are hosting around 150, only first 150 people in our conference, in our auditorium over here. So request all people who are from Mumbai at least or nearby, if they can send their students and promote them, encourage them to do two things. One is participate in the conference, also participate as a speaker, paper presenter. This is one of the flagship programs that the WRC does to promote the students' talent that we have in our region. And believe me, you've got so many papers already from across the region. And since it is virtual as well, it could the best example, the best opportunity can be for any student anywhere can come and present the paper once selected. So I request all of you, all the members who are here, to please encourage your article students to visit our website and register for this event, the national conference, which is on 14th-15th January. The timings are 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. So we have left the early morning slot. Suppose if they have to work also, if they have to the other engagements, they could do that. And the traveling and the logistics are taken care, so that you are here in a comfortable time and you are back before the curfew in Mumbai starts. So look forward to having all of you, many of you, in this auditorium as well as virtually. Please register. The fees are also at early bird discount right now, so please do that and encourage your students to participate in this conference. Thank you, Chairman, for allowing us to talk about this national conference, one of the flagship events for Students Association, the largest one in India. Now coming to the session today, we've got a fantastic speaker with Neelkanth Khandelwal, a young and a dynamic speaker with us. I will request Utkarsh Sharma ji to please formally introduce the speaker for today, and then we can start the session. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Arpit ji. Good evening, every one of you. I won't take much of your time. Neelkanth Khandelwal has qualified in 2013 and is a lawyer in 2014 from GLC, Mumbai, Government Law College. He appears before income tax authorities in assessment proceedings before CIT appeals and tribunal as well. He has appeared before High Court and has got some notable decisions to his credit, which I think during the course of his program he will enlighten us. He has also appeared before various fora under the Prohibition of Benami Property Transactions Act. He's been a subgroup member of the DTC of WIRC on 3 occasions and has addressed as a speaker at WIRC on various topics relating to Income Tax Act. With this, I welcome him and hope all the best. Neel.
Thank you, Utkarsh. Thank you, Utkarsh. Welcome, Neel bhai. Over to you.
I hope I'm audible.
Perfect.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Firstly, my acknowledgements to CA Lalit Bajaj, Chairman WIRC, CA Arpit Kapra, Regional Council Member WIRC, CA Mithil Choksi, Past Chairman WIRC, CA Utkarsh Sharma and CA Shivratan Singrodia, the coordinators of the program. Firstly, I also would like to congratulate CA Lalit Bajaj and his entire team for taking the initiatives also in these trying times and organizing lectures on various topics which are of day-to-day importance for us chartered accountants. And the topic for today, as regards the faceless assessment and faceless CIT appeal, how to handle the same. Before going into the topic, if I may just say, see, the government and the income tax department, they have taken a step for by rolling in the faceless assessment and faceless CIT appeal. Now the onus is on us, we professional chartered accountants, and also the taxpayer as to how we take the scheme ahead. कहते हैं ताली दोनों हाथों से बजती है. So it is important for both of the department as well as to how we put forward for the success of this program. See, very often we hear we tend to also say and that how in this era of faceless assessment or faceless CIT appeal, how would we be able to explain the complex transactions which would be there in the case of our assessees, saying that everything cannot be put on paper. Explaining across the table would have been far more easier as compared to now writing letters and explaining. Whether the department would be able to understand what we are trying to communicate. So all these questions, yes, the department and the government, they will set their own house in order. Why I say this is that, see, just giving an example, we do income tax practice. We often say that section 148, 147, which is for reopening of assessment, the reasons which are to be recorded by the assessing officer, which we say is the backbone for the reopening proceedings. Now, even those reasons which are there, the assessing officer had to write them and had to express what he's trying to say as regards the income which has escaped assessment. And if he failed in that, we used to say that, oh, see, the reasons have not been recorded properly. Where is the tangible material which is required, which is mentioned? Where are the reasons where is the reason to believe that income has escaped assessment? And many a times the assessment used to sail through in the appellate proceedings that yes, they have not been done properly by the assessing officer, and the entire assessment gets quashed. Now, why I gave this example is now the tables have turned to our side also. Now, we have to also express everything on the letter. We also have to give all the details what have been asked for. So, yes, now we will have to, I will in the lecture, during the course of the lecture, I will explain as to the topic of today, that as to how we should handle it and what are the points which one has to keep in mind when one is handling faceless assessments or faceless appeals. So yes, the changing times, we have to adapt to the changes, and see to us as to how we can perform in these circumstances. Now, before again, now coming to the topic as regards as to how we handle this, if I may first throw some light as to how this faceless assessment procedure would function, and the faceless appeal, how they would function, and then go on to the representation aspect. So if I just may open my presentation. So first, as regards the faceless assessment, as far as faceless assessment is concerned, how the function would, the function and roles and responsibilities would be there of each of the units. Now, I have mentioned that in between that there is NEAC, that is the National E-Assessment Center. Then I have mentioned the various units which are there. AU is the assessment unit, TU is the technical unit, VU is the verification unit, RU is the review unit, and also the assessee concerned. Now, you would have seen that I have my arrows are all pointing towards the NEAC. This means that all the communication, be it supposing the assessment unit wanting to ask any question to the assessee concerned, the assessment unit will have to route it through the NEAC. Assessment unit directly cannot write to the assessee. It has to come to the NEAC. NEAC will give it to the assessee. Similarly, when the assessee has to file a reply, the assessee would write a letter, and this would go to the NEAC. NEAC would send it to the respective assessment unit for which has been assigned the case to do the assessment. Then there are other units: technical unit, verification unit, review unit. Review unit, I shall come to it later on during the course of our presentation. Technical unit and verification unit, as the name suggests. See, technical unit would be where the assessment unit requires, say, some technical assistance, advice on, say, legal, accounting, forensic, valuation, audit aspect, data analysis aspect, or for that matter, any other technical aspect. So in that case, the assessment unit will say to the NEAC that, okay, this is the technical assistance which I require. The NEAC will then consult the technical unit. The technical unit will give the technical assistance to the NEAC, and the NEAC will send it back to the assessment unit. So amongst the units also, there is no direct communication. It is all through the NEAC. Then is the verification unit. As the name suggests, the verification unit would perform the functions to conduct inquiries, could be for cross-examination aspect, say for example, examination of books of accounts, witnesses, etc. So this is the function of the verification unit. Again, at the cost of repetition, the assessment unit writes to the NEAC that this say for example, verification of books of account of the assessee is required. The NEAC in turn tells the verification unit to do so. Verification unit gives a reply to gives it to the NEAC, and NEAC sends it back to the assessment unit. So obviously, the verification unit for verification of books of accounts would call the assessee. So that again would flow through the NEAC. So this is how the function of the various units which are there in place as far as the faceless assessment is concerned. 143.2, which is necessary to kickstart an assessment, would be issued by the NEAC. We have seen that the 143.2 which we have received, the NEAC has sent those 143.2 informing that the case has been selected for scrutiny. The assessee may file its reply within 15 days, and the 143.2 notice which the NEAC has issued after that, the NEAC would assign the case to one of the assessment units in one of the REACs, that is the regional e-assessment centers. So the NEAC would send it, or based on the algorithms which are set, the NEAC would send the assessment to one of the assessment units which are there in the REACs. Now, I've gone through this, but only to explain it in the form of flowchart. Response from the assessee: the AU may request the NEAC, that is the assessment unit may request the NEAC for further details from the assessee or any other person. NEAC will issue notice to call for the details from the assessee or any other person. The details file will be given to the NEAC, and NEAC gives it to the assessment unit. Inquiry by verification unit and assistance from technical unit, I just mentioned, as the name suggests, that is what their roles and responsibilities would be in the respective units. Now, after the assessment unit has completed, has got all the details which were required, and all the to and fro communications which have happened, the assessment unit is going to make a draft assessment order. Now, this is something which we need to see. These are the new things which would be, obviously, even the verification and technical unit and the review unit is something new. But what would happen is the assessment unit prepares a draft assessment order. Now, the assessment unit to provide details of penalty proceedings to be initiated in the draft assessment order. And the assessment unit prepares the draft assessment order and sends it to the NEAC, National E-Assessment Center, controlled at Delhi. Now, what does the NEAC do with the draft assessment order which it receives from the assessment unit? Now, the NEAC there are three things. One is that it may finalize the draft assessment order as it is, and in which case the draft assessment order becomes a final order and is sent to the assessee. Now, second is that now it can, NEAC may issue, supposing if there are any additions which are to be made in the case of the assessee concern, or there are any disallowances which is to be made, the NEAC is to issue a show cause notice to the assessee. Now, what happens pursuant to the show cause notice, I shall come to it later on. The NEAC may also, what the NEAC may decide is to assign the draft order to a review unit. I had said that I shall come to the roles and functions of the review unit a little later. So this is where I wanted to tell you about the review unit. So now, what did the review unit do? Now, on receipt of the draft assessment order from the NEAC, the review unit may concur with the draft assessment order. So if it concurs with the draft assessment order, the NEAC to finalize the draft assessment order as such, or it may issue a show cause notice to the assessee. Coming to show cause notice a little later, the review unit may, second aspect which the review unit can do is suggest modifications to the draft assessment order. Now, if the review unit suggests certain modifications, then what would happen is it would go back to the NEAC, and NEAC would send the suggestions to a separate assessment unit. Now, this is something important which needs to be seen, is that the matter would go to a separate assessment unit and not to the same assessment unit that had prepared the draft assessment order. So this is something which is there, that it goes to the separate assessment unit and not to the same assessment unit. So this is what I was just mentioning. The review unit sends to the NEAC the revised draft assessment order. After the review unit sends it to the NEAC the revised draft assessment order, the NEAC to either finalize the assessment or may issue a show cause notice. Now, we saw in the slides above also that show cause notice is issued. Now, and I said that we will deal with show cause notice. So this is where I have mentioned show cause notice separately. Now, what happens when a show cause notice is issued? The assessee responds, the assessment unit to make a revised draft assessment order, the NEAC to finalize the assessment in case of no prejudicial modification, the NEAC to issue a show cause notice to the assessee in case of prejudicial modification. Now, supposing the assessee doesn't respond, the NEAC would have obviously no choice but to finalize the draft assessment order, and draft assessment order becomes the final assessment order, and the assessee is given the order. So this is how the structure as regards the preparation of order is concerned. We dealt with how the functions of various units are concerned. This is how the preparation of orders would take place in the faceless scheme. Now, then what we will see is as regards how the faceless appeal is concerned. Now, how will the faceless appeal would function is also we can see here that how there is National E-Assessment Center at Delhi. Similarly, there is a National Faceless Appeal Center, which is again at Delhi. There would be the regional faceless appeal centers. Now, there are regional faceless appeal centers which have been set up at 4 places, which is Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. And in these regional faceless appeal centers, there are the various appeal units. Now, CIT appeal, which used to be there, now they would now be appeal units under the regional faceless appeal center. So this is the aspect as regards the appeal, the various structure in the appeal is concerned. At the cost of repetition, National Faceless Appeal Center at Delhi, the various regional faceless appeal centers, say at Delhi, at 4 places, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, and in that various appeal units. Now, the appeal units, the National Faceless Appeal Center shall serve a notice. Now, please see the third, which I have mentioned. Direct the NEAC. Now, here NEAC coming back is National E-Assessment Center stroke AO to make further inquiry under section 254 and submit report, obtain information, document or evidence from the appellant, obtain a report from the NEAC stroke AO on the ground of appeal or information, document or evidence filed by the appellant. So the function also again is similar to what is there in the assessment is concerned. The National Faceless Appeal Center sends it to the appeal unit that this is the matter which is selected. The appeal unit first sees the jurisdictional conditions, sees whether the appeal is within time, whether the taxes due have been paid, because for filing an appeal to the Commissioner Appeals, the taxes on the returned income ought to be paid. So once the appeal unit verifies this, the appeal unit sends it to the National Faceless Assessment Center that yes, it is proper. We can now go ahead. National Faceless Appeal Center would in turn inform the assessee that okay, we are seeing the notices which are coming for Commissioner Appeals hearing. So they are coming in this manner. Now, supposing the appeal unit requires the assistance of the assessing officer concerned or for the various units. So over here also the appeal unit will tell the National Faceless Appeal Center. The National Faceless Appeal Center will coordinate with the NEAC. It is not that the appeal unit will directly communicate with the NEAC concerned. It will write to the National Faceless Appeal Center, and National Faceless Appeal Center would write to the assessment center. So again, no direct communication amongst themselves. It is through this channel. Obtain information, document or evidence from the appellant, obtain a report as I mentioned on the grounds of appeal or information, document or evidence filed by the appellant. Reply to be filed. Now we need to file our written submissions, paper book, which we are relying upon within the date time or the extended date time as may be specified by the National Faceless Appeal Center. And after having filed it, it will go to the appeal unit. From the NFAC, it goes to the appeal unit. Now, how we have the concept of draft assessment order. We similarly, there is a concept of the draft order enhancement aspect review also, which is there as far as the Commissioner Appeals is concerned. Now, after the appeal unit has finished with everything, it prepares a draft assessment order. Now, again, the draft assessment order goes to the National Faceless Appeal Center. Over here, 2 things are possible. The draft order passed by the appeal unit becomes final. it gets accepted as such. In that case, the draft order becomes final and goes to the assessee. It is also quite possible that the review of this order is there, and in that case, if there is a review which is to be done based on all this is all based on the algorithms which are being pre-decided and preset over there. If it decides to go to the review unit, if it goes for review, the review unit may decide to concur whatever is mentioned with the draft assessment order, or the review unit may say that, okay, no, there is modification which is required. If the review unit suggests a modification, it goes back to the National Faceless Appeal Center, and the National Faceless Appeal Center will then send it to another appeal unit. How there was that the assessment would go to a separate unit. Similarly, the appeal would also go to a separate appeal unit and would not go to the same appeal unit that has prepared the draft assessment order. So the function, the more or less the aspect as regards the working of the draft order, be it the assessment order or the Commissioner Appeals order, is one can say somewhat similar. So this is something, yes, there is a concept of video conferencing which is there, but that again is with the circumstances in which personal hearing can happen as per the principal CCIT or the principal DG in charge of the National Faceless Assessment Center with the prior approval of the board is then only the video conferencing can happen, and it is not that in any and all the matters that a video conferencing will happen. So this is something which I wanted to discuss as regards the scheme of the faceless assessment and the faceless appeal before going on to the topic as to how we should approach these matters. Now coming as to how we approach these matters. In fact, before coming to as to how we approach these matters, let us also see how the income tax e-proceedings tab looks like and how we are going to see it in the case of our assessee. So this is how the income tax e-proceeding tab would look like. Now you can see that assessment year 1920 adjustment. This is 143.1 intimation. This is obviously with the CPC. Assessment proceedings under 143.3, that is the third item. You can see that opt for e-proceeding. Here there is only yes, there is no change, because you cannot change it to you cannot opt out of the scheme. You are compulsorily bound by this scheme. So opt for e-proceeding, there is only yes, there is no aspect of change which was there earlier, which you can see down below. You can then see the proceeding status, that it is open. Proceeding limitation date is mentioned, that it is assessment year 18-19. Proceeding under 143.3 is getting time barred on 31st March 2021. And sorry. So this is the so 18-19 assessment, 16-17 assessment. In fact, you will also see that CIT appeal proceedings is also mentioned in this portal only, in this tab only. We do not have to go somewhere else. You can see 11-12 first appeal proceedings. First appeal proceedings is the CIT appeal, which is there, and also you can on the extreme right there is something which is add AR, that is the authorized representatives. This add AR concept, I shall come to it later on. So from this you can see of one assessee only the various aspects which are ongoing, be it the assessment or be it the appeal, everything is on one tab. Now, supposing you go and select these one of the notice, say assessment or 18-19, you selected assessment proceedings under 143.3. 143.2 notice, you can see, as I said, to kickstart an assessment is over here. The issued on date is mentioned. The document ID, it is a must, and a notice without a document ID will be considered to be non-est. That is, it would never have been deemed to be sent to the concerned assessee. So a document ID, every notice, every communication would have a document ID. Served on date is there. Response due date is mentioned. response, submit and view. When we click on submit, and the aspect as to what we need to file would appear. So 142.1, 143.2. So this is how the notice would view notice and communication over here. Now I've put one of the 142.1 notices over here, which you can see. This is the 142.1 which we are receiving, where the national, you can see at the top, the National E-Assessment Center Delhi has sent it. Kindly refer to the 143.2 for conducting assessment proceedings under E-Assessment Scheme 2019. We appreciate the anxiety and uncertainty that is facing all of us in COVID times. The communication is to assist you in ending. So this is what is mentioned for assessment year 18-19. You are requested to file the details on or before 1st September by 11 a.m. The accounts and documents specified in the annexure to the notice. So please see, that would be the annexure. So this is the annexure. This is what would be the details which could be called for from the concerned assessee, and we need to file the details. So as I said, submit response tab is there for us to file the details. So this is how the submit response tab looks like in e-proceedings. The proceeding name, assessment year, notice under 142.1, response type is either partial or full. There are two options which are there in response type. Supposing if there are 5 details for which have been, so in this case you can see that there are so many details which have been called for to be filed on or before 1st September 2020. If I'm able to file, if I'm able to give all the details by 1st September, well and good. If not, then I at least file the partial details. So if I can file all the details, I will select response type as full. If I'm filing partial details, I will select it as partial and give the this is the response remarks tab which is there, where you can file our details. Then you can see the next aspect is the attachment. All the papers and documents. Supposing the assessing officer requires the details as regards the loan which have been borrowed during the year, so you give the details over here and attach the necessary loan details, ledger and everything. So this I have discussed. Yeah, over here one point I wanted to highlight is that 10 MB is the maximum size, but sometimes we even see that this it becomes full even after we have only uploaded 5-6 MBs. So yes, these are there. This I'm sure the department will address this in times to come. So note the size of the documents when we are attaching it and filing the same. So this is the how the portal as regards our filing of reply to the 142.1 looks like. I've also selected this because if you will see the attachment description, this is what the attachment description tab looks like. Now it is quite possible that the details which are being asked for by the assessing officer are not mentioned in this tab, so you can select others and put in your details. This is something which they have looked beyond time, that okay, it would be quickly, supposing the demat statements are required, so that demat tab is there, you quickly attach your demat. But many a times the note details which are being asked for do not appear in those tabs. In that case, we select others and put forward the details. So this is how as I said, the portal for the 143.2 and the 142.1 and our reply thereto looks like. So then coming to now, as we are seeing, we are receiving notices from the Faceless Appeal Center. This was all as regards the assessment. Now we are dealing with the appeal. Now even the existing appeals which were there, which are there, have gone into the National Faceless Appeal Center. Fresh appeals which are to be filed would obviously go to the appeal center, but even the existing appeals have gone to the Faceless Appeal Center. So this is how the notice looks like, that the assessment year appeal number you will see would be the same. If suppose it is a physical, this was prior to this becoming faceless, the appeal number would be the same. There is no change in the appeal number. This is the notice of communication. They are mentioning Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, which is going on, which was due to expire on 31st December. The taxes which could have been paid till 31st March. The scheme now stands extended to 31st January. Payment to be made can be made by 31st March. So this is what they are also making the assessee aware that such a scheme is going on, and the notice and if supposing you have to file your details, if suppose you do not wish to go for Vivad Se Vishwas, then time limit to involved is that you have to file the details on or before 8th January 2021. So this is how the notice looks like. Now, supposing you want to go ahead participate in the proceedings of the CIT appeal, that is, you do not wish to go for Vivad Se Vishwas, this is how you would file your reply. So written submissions and paper book, this have been filed. Description mentioned as others. Written submissions, size of the attachment is mentioned. The hash value this is the hash value which gets generated, and this is the e-proceeding response acknowledgement that yes, whatever the pursuant to the appeal notice which we have received, this is what you have filed. And now, as I mentioned, the National Faceless Appeal Center would send it to the concerned appeal unit to pass the draft appeal order and the procedure as we discussed. So this is how the tab as regards the assessment and the appeal on the e-proceeding tab looks like. And so this is how we are dealing with the matters. Now, as I said, now coming to the topic as to how we handle these matters. See, the one thing is for sure that with these changes, we would have to take utmost care as to how we handle the matters and what are the points we need to keep in mind. See, one is now proper sequential flow of facts. Now, supposing in the 142(1) which the assessing officer has issued, and he has sought clarification from us, we need to be what I can say, we need to be careful in how we present the facts in a proper sequential manner. It should not be that one fact we mention, the other fact which is connected to this first fact which we mentioned, we put it somewhere else. The connectivity is not there. So this is something which we need to keep in mind when we are writing our letter, when we are preparing our submissions, also for the CIT appeal. So the flow of facts need to be proper, so that the important aspects do not miss. The chain which is there is in order. It is not that some aspects are discussed here, the other important aspects are discussed, say, at the end of the letter. That should not be the case. So flow of facts, proper sequence of facts is very important. Second, what is important, what I feel, is that we read the notice properly and understand as to what is being asked for, rather than having preconceived notions in our mind as to what is being asked for. Now, sometimes what happens is that, okay, we tend to, because with practice, with experience, we can say that, okay, this is what the assessing officer has issued in his 142(1). I'm sure this is what he must be having in his mind. I personally believe that we should avoid that. We should not have these preconceived notions. Read the notice and stick to what has been asked for from the notice. Let me give you an example why I say so. Now, supposing the assessment unit has, say, for example, asked you as to the payment which have been made during the year under consideration for to the contractors, and you give the names to for the payment of contractors, you give the amount, you give the address, and you give the PA number and all these things. Now, you would think, okay, the next step is I'm sure the assessing officer is going to ask me, okay, what about the TDS which have been deducted on these contract payments? Now, so in that letter only, in which he only asked you for nature of payment of contractors to contractors, you also give the details of TDS which have been deducted, say, at 1%. Now, the assessment unit never asked you for the TDS detail, but you thought that, okay, this would be the next thing, you give it. Now, assessment unit did not have this aspect of TDS in his mind. you having given so, the assessment unit now thinks, oh, this is something, the TDS has been deducted at 1% as contractor. I believe that these payments which have been made are professional fees and the TDS ought to have been deducted at 10%. So this was not in his mind, as I again say, but you having given it to the assessment unit, thinking that this would be the next question which he asked for, so I give it in this. This is something which comes up in his mind, and he then sees that, okay, though these are not contract payments, these are professional payments, and therefore goes on to a different tangent, which was not there in his mind. So therefore, I say that we should stick to the notice. We should read the notice properly and give only the requisite details. If supposing he wants something more, he will obviously ask you, and then he can provide the same. So this is the second point which I wanted to discuss as regards the handling of the matter. Then the aspect of see, also always include without prejudice contentions. Now, again, I'll explain this with the help of an example. That supposing you have claimed a particular expenditure, say as a revenue expenditure, and the assessment unit asks you that, okay, give us the nature, why this should not be treated as a capital expenditure, and so on and so forth. You give all the replies that for so and so reason it should be considered as a revenue expenditure and not a capital expenditure, and you take support from various case laws and give the details. Now the assessment unit passes the orders, not accepting it. Sorry, the draft assessment order gets prepared, and ultimately the draft assessment order gets finalized, and your expenditure is not accepted as revenue expenditure. It is treated as capital expenditure. Now, in the letter which you had filed explaining that this expenditure should be treated as a revenue expenditure and not a capital expenditure, what I would also say is include without prejudice stand, that if at all you want to treat it as a capital expenditure, please allow me depreciation. Now, if the assessment unit treats it as a capital expenditure, it is natural that they would allow you. But if suppose that does not happen, then we get into matters of 154 and so on. Now, this could have been avoided if we would have written it in our letters. See, over there, they are also reading our letters. They are doing assessments. They must be having different things in mind. The algorithms which are set may not accept it, and so on. So why leave it to chance? I appreciate that this can be rectified under a 154, but again, this would increase the process, which could have been avoided if we would have mentioned in our letter the without prejudice stance. So this is one more aspect which I wanted to discuss as regards handling. Next is scan the documents. Now, when I say scan the documents, we saw in this portal that as regards the attachment is concerned, please scan the documents properly and check the same before we upload. See, now we will appreciate that there is no going back once the details are uploaded. So after having scanned and the attachment is there, before uploading, just check once as to everything is in order. See, we may be handling the assessment of different clients. It is not that we would be handling, say, only one assessment. So it should not be this ledger goes there, that ledger goes here. So avoid this kind of mistakes. So after having, as I said, after having done the attachment, after having completed everything, check once everything is in order, and then you send it. And rather than being in a hurry, and we tend to send wrong details, which it is quite possible may not belong to our assessee also. So check the documents properly before we upload the same. So this is something which I also wanted to share. Then we should be careful in our cut, copy, paste habits. See, it is not something that is not known. It is well accepted that we all use the facility of cut, copy, paste. But please be vigilant. Please be careful in using this. Always read it after you have, if you have done a copy paste. Read whatever is there. it is pertaining to your facts. It should not be that whatever it is not pertaining to your facts and you've just used the copy paste and you send the details. So be very careful when we are using the cut copy paste aspects is one more thing which I wanted to share. Then is next is that see, when we are giving when we say in commissioner appeals or for assessment, we should always stick to mention our facts first rather than jumping into case law. See, I do understand that the matter could be squarely and fairly covered with say a judicial decision of the Supreme Court or of any High Court, but don't just jump to writing of quoting of the decisions is concerned. First give the facts, then move on to the case laws, because ultimately if supposing you directly mention and do not mention as to the facts, then again it becomes difficult for the appeal unit who is doing the matter to understand as to what you are trying to say. So first concentrate on the facts, then obviously go on to the case laws, see the recent case laws, also try for the old case laws, see the recent case laws, make the submissions proper, and then file the same. So this is something which I wanted to discuss as regards how we are going to handle the faceless assessment is concerned, faceless appeal is concerned. Now also what I wanted to discuss was that this portal which is there of the faceless e-proceeding tabs, we need to see the email ID and the mobile number is properly updated, because sometimes what happens is that the email ID which we are using is an old email ID and the notices are going, there is no communication which we would receive, and in turn it would result in a 144 assessment. So see that the email ID is properly updated, mobile number is properly updated. I have discussed about the tab which is there separately, which is provided for the authorized representative, and I had told you we shall discuss that as well. So this is the tab which is for the authorized representative, how it looks like. In these days which have gone, couple of days back, this was not properly functional, but this is what it would look like, and I'm sure they are going to address it. Authorized representative type, select over here, membership number, PAN details, name, mobile number, email. So this is how the tab separately of the authorized representative. So if suppose we as authorized representative are filing it on behalf of our clients, we should make use of this tab and not file it from the tab of the client concerned. Because see, the client can turn around tomorrow and say that, oh, this is not something which I had told you to upload, you have uploaded, now this is something wrong. So don't leave something for this to happen. If suppose you are, make sure you use your tab, take proper letter of authority from the client, show to the client, take his concurrence from the mail that this is what you are filing, take a mail from him that yes, he has seen through it, and he acknowledges what is being filed. So that, as I said, tomorrow there is no scope for communication that, oh, this is not something what was expected on you to file, but still you have filed this. So don't leave to these things. So this is another aspect which I wanted to discuss, and discuss about the filing of the proper documents, the sheet which are attached, the enclosures which are there. So this is the way how the faceless assessment and appeal structure would go about, and I see various benefits in this scheme. See, anything which is new would have teething problem, but let's see as to what are the positives to this. Now, see, one thing which is there is that with this, the quality of returns which are filed. Now, we are only discussing about the assessments and the appeals are concerned, but also the first step as regards the filing of return is concerned, even those would improve. Then there will also, with this, there will be a proper digital trail of each and every action of the revenue as well as the taxpayer. Now, because as I said that everything would now be on the portal, so with this there would be a digital trail which would be there. So this is all which is going to go in the positive direction of the faceless scheme. The role of technology can be made more robust. One can say that the role of technology can be made more robust so as to ensure that voluminous data can be submitted seamlessly, ensuring recall value and search functions, cross-linkage, digital tracking, etc. Now, we would also see that the cross-linking would become possible. The search functions which are there, which would also become faster. The digital tracking would also be there. So these are some of the positives which one can see in the faceless assessment or the appeal structure is concerned. The IT systems now, we also the systems which we are using, we need to make sure that they are upgraded so as to proper documents are attached, the voluminous size which are involved, we are able to meet them. So our systems also need to be proper. Historical data to be appropriately summarized and called out for any potential appeals, rectifications, etc. Now, historic data to be appropriately summarized and called out for a potential appeal effects is that these all the data which are there. This is my personal view. Again, one would have a different view to this. That okay, we are going towards the faceless aspect, but see. It would take its time to go to that aspect. So whatever the notice which is there, we need to we should maintain one set of as of now, so that the trail is there if at all we need to go to the appeal, and we do not have to go to the proceedings, and we would get accustomed to these proceedings. But for the time being, if we maintain a file right from a 143.2 notice to show that the assessment has been selected, then the 142.1, what was our response, only take the relevant letters and so on. I'm not saying take the entire bunch of whatever has been filed, but at least whatever the communication is being received and whatever the details which are being filed, at least maintain those records for the time being till we become fully equipped to use these the new proceedings, because this would, as I said, help us in our appeal matters are concerned. Then reconcile the ITBA with the e-proceeding so as to avoid any potential hiccups in obtaining income tax refunds is concerned. So make sure that your ITBA and your e-filing portal are in order, because it should not be that they are not in order and the refunds which are there gets adjusted, which were really due to us. Now, see, as I said, that the systems are new. There are bound to be things which would come up, which would need to address. So one thing which we need to keep in mind is the difficulties which we were facing in, or which we can say which we are still facing in CPC. Keep those things in mind and see as to how this can be overcome in the faceless assessment or appeal matters are concerned. So this is how the assessment and appeal structure would look like. This is how what is expected from us, as I said, the authorized representatives or the concerned assessee is there, our expectations. And let's see as to how things would move ahead. So having discussed this as regards our representation is concerned, if suppose anyone has, and also would before I end, let me share something with you on a lighter note. Nothing to do with the faceless assessment or faceless appeal is concerned. See, there was a matter there was a divorce matter which was going on in the High Court, and the judge asked the lady as to on what ground are you seeking for the divorce. The lady said 4 acres of land and a house in between. The judge said, no, no, no. I'm asking you, what is the foundation for divorce? The lady said, the house is made of bricks and cement. The judge said, no, no, no. I'm asking, what is your relation like? The lady says that his parents and my parents, both our parents live in the same city as we do. Now the judge has reached his pinnacle of tolerance. The judge asks the lady, does your husband beat you up? The lady says, yes, of course. Couple of days in the week, he does get up before me. The judge, now totally frustrated, asks the lady, why are you wanting divorce? The lady replies, oh, no, no, judge, it is not me who is wanting the divorce. It is my husband who is wanting divorce on the ground that he says he finds difficult to communicate with me. So, so welcome to the age of faceless assessment. Welcome to the age of faceless, where things would hopefully turn out for the better. So let's, time alone would say whether this would be in a positive direction or whether the appeals would increase. Our concerns have been that this would lead to an increase in appeals. Again, one more thing which I can share with you, there was some construction work which was going on. So thus there was a signboard over there, go slow, comma, work in progress. Now there, to put it the other way, it was go, comma, slow work in progress. So this is the difference which a comma can make. So we need to be careful when we are filing our letters also. Yes, this is all which I wanted to discuss with you. If supposing you have anything to share, if you have anything to ask, you may please go ahead, and then we could later on go to the second session as regards the recent decisions are concerned.
हेलो नीलकंठ सर, कुछ हुआ सर?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No. If anyone has any questions or if anyone has any points to discuss upon, we can discuss the same.
क्वेरीज है, अभी शो करता हूं मैं आपको, देख लीजिए.
Yes, please. Yeah, please. One moment before we get into the queries, only one thing which I wanted to also throw light upon. Can I do it or after the queries? Yes, I think I'll address that point after the queries. Yeah, can we go? Hello?
हाँ सर, एक मिनट.
Yes.
क्वेश्चन 1 आपको दिख रहा है ना सर?
Yes, मैं बढ़ूं आगे, पढ़ूं? दिख रहा है. I can see the question.
Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
Yes. What will be the situation where the appellant opts for Vivad se Vishwas tax, has not withdrawn the appeal till 31st March and has also not paid the taxes? Please ignore the question if the situation given above is not possible. No, I believe if you have not paid the taxes, which is a prerequisite for Vivad se Vishwas scheme, you would automatically go out of the scheme, and the appeal would be taken up in the before the authority concerned, which has it. Is there any procedure prescribed for filing additional ground of appeal in faceless? Yes, there is a provision as regards filing of additional ground of appeal before the. Now, only thing is that the CIT in faceless CIT appeal is concerned, there is a provision. You file the additional ground of appeal. The additional ground of appeal goes to National Faceless Appeal Center. The National Faceless Appeal Center sends it to the appeal unit. And the appeal unit can write it to the National Faceless Assessment Center, and it may then go to the National Faceless E-Assessment Center or the assessing officer for their comments, because this is something which is there. So yes, you can take up the additional ground of appeal in faceless CIT, faceless appeals also. What is the legality of faceless assessment? Why it has not been challenged in High Court till date? This is difficult for me to answer why it has not been challenged till date. What is the legality? Yes, in fact, I would like to share one thing, that the legality of faceless appeal was challenged in Delhi High Court. There was a writ petition which was filed at Delhi High Court, but I don't think the things have moved ahead from there as to what has whether nothing has happened, nothing has moved, because there are no stay on the proceedings by the High Court till now, as these notices which we are receiving from the CIT appeal would not have come. So what is the legality? Yes, there are nothing has been mentioned about the legality. Why it has not been is difficult for me to answer. What was the urgency and dire need to surreptitiously introduce via ordinance during Corona lockdown? This again is out of my purview to answer. What was the urgency to do it during the Corona times? Whether principles of natural justice satisfied? See, this is again whether principles of natural justice satisfied is again difficult for us to answer today. Whether they would be satisfied, we would come to know when the orders are being passed as to they are satisfied or not satisfied. Because if why be pessimistic? We should be optimistic that it would get satisfied, and we would get the desired result from the assessment or the appeal forum. How can the IT department be allowed to draft best judgment order without any hearings? If suppose you do not turn up, they do not have any other option but to do a best judgment. Again, there are time and again courts have held that best judgment assessment does not mean that you make any and whatever additions or disallowance what you want to. You have to restrict it to whatever the material is there before on the records. So how can it be allowed to? It can be allowed because if you are not participating in the proceedings, they have no option but to do a best judgment. Why the assessee needs to, or how can the IT department force an assessee to share his data to a bunch of unknown persons? How does privacy is secured in see this the privacy aspect is yes, there is this question was there that how would the privacy be there in the data which is being shared, whether it would not. This I believe, and I'm sure that the department is taking due care. Up till now, we have not heard of any such things that the data which have been shared have been compromised, have gone to other persons. because we are in the age of Twitter, where anything and everything goes on tweet, and at least I have not seen any such matter that yes, they have been compromised, but yes, they will I'm sure they will be taking due care of the data which is being filed. So yes, the privacy aspect is something which they will take care of. In many cases, the questionnaire sent by Faceless assessment team amounts to reopening assessment of earlier years, and many questions are in nature of phishing or roving inquiries. As per message in IT, sending mail issued questionnaire. Yes, before I was taking the questions, I said that I want to discuss one more aspect. So this is that aspect, in fact, which I wanted to discuss, where that this is all something new and something latest, which they have started, is to send a mail where the supposing the details which are being asked for are in the nature of making any roving inquiries which have got nothing to do with your matter. And see, because one of the reasons for implementation is that those stereotype letters which we used to receive, 142.1, where there were standard 20-30 questions which were there, irrespective whether they were applicable to us or no, would be gone away with in this Faceless. So this mechanism, as yes, this is something which is latest and which they need to be appreciated, that yes, you can send mails that this is something frivolous which is being asked for, but we also need to be careful in sending mails that we may think it is frivolous, but really it should be frivolous in nature. Now, if supposing it is that they are wanting a particular detail, and the assessee may not want to share it, should not also become phishing. This is there. And also one more point which I wanted to discuss before I take the new question is, please see the nature for which the assessment has been selected for the scrutiny. The CAS has selected the matter for scrutiny. Please see the purpose and see that it is restricted to that purpose, and it is not a full scrutiny which is there. Yes, it can be converted to full scrutiny, but see the purpose for selection of scrutiny under CAS. The questionnaire sent by department under Faceless regime clearly showed that they have become. Should we also reply in the same manner? See, this is something which is, if suppose they have asked a question which is not relevant, or something which is not, you think that it is not, we can politely just mention that this is not relevant and this is not there. And rather than giving any nasty reply, we can just reply that this is not applicable to the facts of the case, or this is not applicable, and move ahead, rather than giving any nasty replies. The limited scrutiny assessments are being assessed under Faceless regime in full-fledged manner. Yes, is it permissible? So yes, this is something which needs to be seen. It is permissible, it is not permissible, but a full-fledged, it can be converted to a full-fledged scrutiny. There are tribunal decisions which have struck down the assessments where the limited scrutiny was converted to a full scrutiny without the necessary approvals. Why assessment year 18-19 limited scrutiny are taken under Faceless regime? They are taken under Faceless regime because of the notification which have said that even the existing appeals, existing assessments would go in the Faceless regime. It is the notification which has taken. Even the Faceless existing appeals which are pending before the appeals have also gone in Faceless, obviously with the exception of the central appeal matters, and also where there are complex issues and there are certain exceptions to them. Next question is, for which assessee is the e-verification mandatory for filing response to Faceless notices? Is it mandatory to add AR? So answering for, is it e-verification mandatory for filing Faceless? E-verification, yes, the portal which is there is mandatory because you can file a reply to them only. Is it mandatory to add the AR? It is not mandatory to add the authorized representative. But as I said during the course of my presentation, if we as AR are filing the details, it is advisable that we do it by adding it through the AR route and not directly filing it through the client. If suppose the client portal, if we are doing so, we should take appropriate letter of authority. So obviously we need to take, and also take mail confirmation from clients to say that yes, this is what is being uploaded, because tomorrow it should not be the client turn around and tells you this is not what was to be uploaded. So this needs to be kept in mind. So this is to answer your question. In case of delay in filing the appeal for genuine reason, yes, there is a case for condonation of delay. As I said, the faceless appeals, the National Faceless Appeal Center sends it to the appeal unit. The appeal unit decides it whether that it is a reasonable cause for condonation of delay based on the affidavit or on the explanation which you have given. The appeal unit communicates it to the National Faceless Appeal Center that yes, the delay has been condoned or not, and accordingly then moves ahead to decide with the appeal. So yes, this is something which the appeal unit would decide first if there is any condonation of delay. Please clarify on the size of each attachment and total. Yes, we have seen that there is the maximum of 10 attachments and 10 MB is the maximum, but it is getting full, which I'm sure they would, in the times to come, they would address. Please highlight that the manner of writing the file name is peculiar. Yes, the writing of file name is peculiar. That is why if suppose we are not, we find it to be peculiar, the best option which is there is you can mention it as others and go about it, rather than trying to fit into whatever they have mentioned. This they would, I'm sure they would have mentioned, but there could be many other things, because see, everything cannot be fit into a straight jacket formula that okay, this is what is required, and we select that aspect. Well, to withdraw appeal for Vivad Se Vishwas, to whom should we contact? Whole CIT appeal or faceless CIT appeal? Some officers of whole CIT consulted in faceless CIT appeal. No, it is now will be with the new CIT appeal, that is the faceless CIT faceless Commissioner Appeals notice which we are receiving. We have to write over that we have opted for Vivad Se Vishwas, the due taxes have been paid, the Commissioner has given the approval, and therefore the appeal may be dismissed as withdrawn because of opting for Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. Just sharing an experience is in virtual hearing, I made all submissions through the portal. The AO passed the order saying that he didn't see any submissions. I went in appeal. It is yet to come up for hearing. And sees the bank account of the SSE. Yes. Yes, this is something which you are sharing. Yes, we will have to see that if these things happen, it is difficult for the SSE, because if the replies were filed in time, everything was given in detail, the AO still passes the order saying that no submissions, and then is insisting for 20% is we need to see that these things do not happen. What about old appeals when paper book have been filed physically but not once received in notice received in faceless? Do we need to scan entire paper book? Yes, we will have to. It is quite if I may take cue from the above question, why leave anything to chance? We need to, if we have already filed, still we should scan it and file the paper book again, and also file our written submissions. Why think that okay, if it had been filed physically, it would be taken care. We should again file it, so that it should not be that the appeal unit feels that there is nothing which we are relying upon and passes an order without dealing with our written submissions and paperwork. So please again file, scan the paperbook and these submissions and file it. Faceless is understood, but why is it nameless? If the officer has name, then what will happen to the? If the officer has name, then what will happen to protection of identity of the SSE? No, this I'm sure that they would, even if it has the name of the SSE, they would take due care, and how is the digital signature to be used for the PDF format? Digital signature, how we use the digital signature is to be used in that manner. Do we have to submit a letter of authority on stamp paper while selecting author? Yes, we will have to get the letter of authority on the stamp paper and put it on the proceedings tab where we are selecting it for authorized representative. Can an assessee be asked to write the books in a particular manner as desired to assess? No, I am not. Can he be asked to write the books in a particular manner? Is not. But yes, he can. He can send it to the assessment unit. Can send it to the verification unit for verification of books of accounts. But he cannot say as to how the books are to be written, if I can say so. Notice containing 16 pages and 35 questions produced, including production of electronic books of account, sales and register in a particular manner is called for. Fixed assets purchase proof or called for every edition. How can all this be filed in 10 MB for a company? Yes, if suppose if this difficulty is there, we are not able to file all the details which are required, make sure that we communicate this. See, just by keeping it to ourselves that this is a 10,000 crore, I'm sure the assessing officer would have seen also by himself that this is a 10,000 crore company. But do communicate it that this is not possible. Then let him increase the magnitude of what he's asked for. Supposing if he's asked for the fixed assets details of say more than a crore, he can then say that okay, you give it to me of more than 10 crores. So but don't keep it to yourself, or don't just say that, don't just file, don't sit over it and not file anything. Inform that this is the difficulty and this is there. Now you please tell about as to how we should go about. Is that is it? So this is all, I believe, as far as the questions are concerned. Vaibhav, हो गए और है?
सर हो गया, फिलहाल के लिए हो गया, अभी देख रहे हैं.
ठीक है, ठीक है. So this is how the new regime of faceless assessment and faceless appeal would function. Hoping that it functions for and meets the desired results. This brings us to an end as far as the first session is concerned. Now we will go to the recent decisions of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal on the various issues which we encounter in our day-to-day practice is concerned. I have made a presentation on the same. If we may start with that in a couple of minutes. If we may break for a couple of minutes and start on that. भैया 2 मिनट में स्टार्ट करें, चलेगा ना? 5 मिनट, 2 मिनट में.
हाँ सर, ठीक है.
Yeah, please. 2 minutes में we'll start. Vaibhav?
हाँ सर.
We can start कि रुको
Yes sir, start करो.
start कर सकते हैं.
First screen share करो.
Yes, yes, yes. Coming back to the second topic for our discussions as regards recent decisions of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. Now, one moment. Yes. The first decision which I have mentioned is this is a decision of JR Properties. This is Mumbai Tribunal. In this case, what happened was that the addition was confirmed by the CIT appeal as regards the loan which was borrowed by the assessee. A remand report was called for by the CIT appeal. AO mentions in the remand report that summons issued to the loan party and Bawarlal Jain has returned unserved. Assessee also failed to produce the parties. Now, I will just mention what happened was that the AO made an addition under section 68 on account of loan which was borrowed by the concerned assessee from say one Mr. X on the basis of statement which was given by Bawarlal Jain, an alleged entry provider. Now, the CIT appeal confirmed the addition which was made by the assessing officer. CIT appeal, in fact, called for a remand report from the assessing officer. The assessing officer in this remand report, which was called for by the CIT appeal, mentioned that the party from whom which the loan is bought, that is that X, as well as Bawarlal Jain, the notices which were received, which were sent to them for cross-examination and other aspects have returned unserved. The assessee has also failed to produce these parties. Now, the argument which was taken up before the tribunal was that the loan in this case pertains to March 10, as I mentioned, is for assessment year 10-11, whereas the remand report has been called for in 2019, in late 2019 by the CIT appeal, which is almost 10 years have elapsed since the loan was taken, and as such it is possible that the summons which would have been sent to this party X as well as to Mr. Bawarlal Jain would have returned unserved because they would have left the premises. It is quite possible. Emphasis was on 10 years that have elapsed. Loan which was there, which was of March 10, was repaid in 3 years. So that is, it was repaid in March 13. That is much prior to the summons issued. That is, the summons, as I said, were issued in late 19. So therefore, much weightage could not be given to this remand report, which was called for by the CIT appeal to issue the summons to the party concerned and to Bawarlal Jain, and as such, the addition should not be made. Nothing whatsoever was, as regards the cash was exchanged, was mentioned by the AO or by the CIT appeal. Assessee has discharged its primary onus, and therefore the appeal ought to be allowed, and the tribunal has allowed this appeal. The other one more aspect in this decision is that during the course of assessment proceedings and the CIT appeal proceedings, the cross-examination of the party concerned as well as Bhawarlal Jain was asked for, and to which the assessing officer mentioned that this is not necessary. This is only delaying tactics of the assessee, and the loan is non-genuine and is a gospel truth. Now, the assessing officer could not have done this and denied it, especially in 2019, where the CIT appeal has called for a remand report. So the purpose of remand report of 19 did not serve any purpose when me, during the course of assessment proceedings, have asked for this, which was not given to me, and mentioned by the assessing officer that nothing is required. So on this basis, on the various facts which I just enumerated, the tribunal has deleted the addition under section 68 of the Act of the loan which was borrowed and which was subsequently repaid. The other aspect which is mentioned, that as I said, that coming to the first topic, that make sure that the proper letters and everything is mentioned in the letter. And supposing if this was not mentioned in the letter, in the assessment proceedings or the CIT to the CIT appeal, I'm not saying that it would have been on a weaker footing, but then having mentioned, made a mention of cross-examination during assessment proceedings, it helped us to say that the same thing done in 2019 should now, and if no response is there, is no fault of mine. Then the next decision is on account of the client code modification. This next decision is a case of Mudra Securities. ITA number is 1944. Again, this is Mumbai Tribunal. The issue of client code modification. Now, in this case, the assessee is a sub-broker. Information is being received by the assessing officer from the DIT Intelligence and Criminal Investigation. There is a department known as an Intelligence and Criminal Investigation Department that has supplied information to the assessing officer regarding tax evasion through client code modification with a view to reduce the tax liability by shifting the profits. Modification from assessee code to client code. Now, in this case, what was argued was, what actually happened was that there was change in client code. Assessee over here, as I mentioned, is a sub-broker. There was a change from the assessee code to the client code of the assessee. The assessee is a sub-broker. He is having clients. So he was doing his own trades, and plus he was having other clients. So there was an allegation of shifting of client codes. So over here, what was argued was that the modification which has happened from the client code of the assessee to the from the code of the sub-broker to the client of the assessee was merely 1.15% of the total trades which have been executed during the year. And more so, the due procedure for modification of such code was allowed by the National Stock Exchange. The National Stock Exchange has not levied any penalty for such modifications. Now, as I said, see what happened was the assessee here is a sub-broker. The sub-broker code was M1, which was allotted to the assessee. Now, followed by another serial numbers. Now, the assessee code is say M1. The code of the client would be M12. Another could be M13. Next could be M14. Whereas M1 is the code of the assessee, the sub-broker doing his own trades. Own volume of trades was as high as 90% of the total trades which were executed. As I said, he's doing his own trades, so they were 90% of the total trades. Since the trades of the assessee are this high, it is quite possible that the staff of the assessee, in order to save time, could have prefixed the client code of the assessee, that is M1, and as such the error of wrong client code. So supposing the client code would have been say M12, but the person who was executing the trade as executed as M1, because as I said, they were 90% for his own trades, with a prefixed client code of the assessee concerned. And as such, The error of wrong client code is not a typo, but a punching error at the time of executing the trade of the clients. In fact, in this case, the client has also obtained letters from the respective clients after the change, that is, that the trades have been considered in their returns. So supposing the trades were there of a particular, say, M1 or 2, but it was punched in the code of M1, that is the assessee. So from M1 to after the shift to the trade of to M12, whose clients the trade was, a letter has been obtained from M12 that yes, this trade belongs to me, and this trade has been considered by me in my return of income, be it a profit or a loss. This trade has been included in me. Assessee has done all that it could do on its part, and the reason for such for the punching of wrong code has been mentioned above. No reply by the AO. Now, in this case, also the CIT appeal based on this submissions that letters were obtained from the respective clients. A remand report was called for by the CIT appeal. Called for by the CIT appeal from the AO. No reply was filed by the AO to the remand report called for. CIT appeal had no option but to go ahead with the matter since there was no reply which was received. Assessee has done all that it could do. Department has made additions on the basis of conjectures and surmises. Onus was on the department to substantiate the allegations being made with corroborative evidence, which the department has failed to do so. Consequently, the appeal of the assessee stands alone. So based on the circumstances involved, 90% being own trades, M1 and M12, the example which I gave, and the letters being obtained from the respective clients after the change, the tribunal held that yes, everything whatever that the assessee could do in this case has been done. It is the department who had to, if they were alleging something, they had to take it ahead, and having not done so, the addition stands to be deleted. The next decision is in the case of Malchand Deendayal. In this case, there were cross appeals. That is, the assessee was in appeal for 148. The department was in appeal as regards the merits of the addition, which were deleted by the CIT appeal. In this case, the tribunal quashed the reopening per se. Now, when I say why, and the reason for them to quash is in the reasons which had been recorded by, because I had challenged we had challenged the reopening, and it was mentioned that the reason to believe that income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment was not there. There was no tangible material. Now, normally we see in the case of reopening, it is an entry provider who gets, alleged entry provider who gets searched. He gives information that it is for so and so company he's been maintaining. In this case, there was no such search. There was no such alleged entry provider. So there was no tangible material for the assessing officer. And secondly, there was no reason to believe also that income has escaped assessment. Assessment reopened based on the financial statements, that is the balance sheets only of the concerned assessee. And the assessing officer in the reasons mentions that it was not possible for the assessee to fetch such a high premium. And this was found to be no reason to believe that income has escaped assessment. In the reasons, nowhere it is mentioned that the shares were overvalued or what is the amount by which it exceeds the value of shares, which has led to income escaping assessment, and as such the reopening got quashed. In any view of the matter, I have mentioned in the other aspects, as the assessing officer could not have gone into the aspect of the value of shares because the appeal here was assessment year 1011. Proviso to section 68 also not applicable in this year, as it is assessment year 1011. Proviso is inserted by Finance Act 2012 with effect from 1st April 2013, and it has been held by Bombay High Court and other courts also that the proviso is applicable prospectively and it is not applicable retrospectively. So on the basis of all which I have just mentioned, that there being no tangible material, there being no reason to believe what has the assessing officer seen is only the financial statements and has not mentioned anything about the value of the premiums or charge, the reopening on these four accounts was held to be bad in law and reopening was quashed. The next decision here is the case of Vaidyanathan Vembu. This was an appeal for 3 years. ITA numbers mentioned over here. It's a 263 matter. See, the appeal was also of 2020. The matter got decided because in the case of 263 matters, there are instructions in the tribunal that the 263 matters are to be given out of turn hearing, because in the 263 matter, because the assessment gets set aside by the principal CIT and the time limit is going on for this AO to pass the order. So because of this reason, the tribunal, there is an instruction to hear these matters out of turn. So this matter got decided. Principal CIT order dated 16th March was ordered. The CIT passed the order on 16th March, which was received on 17th March. Thus, the due date to file the appeal to the tribunal was 16th May 2020, that is 60 days, whereas the appeal was filed on 9th June. Now the corona times were the corona times. There was extension which was given. The circular extending the time was there. So 30th June was considered wherever the appeal which due to fell between this time period were extended to 30th June, and hence this was not to be considered to be a delay, and thus there was no delay. This is mentioned by the tribunal in the order. Further, in this case, what happened was inadvertently the appeal filing fees which was paid as 10,000 rupees per year, whereas it should have been 500 rupees because it falls under clause D, that is others clause. It has got nothing to do. The appeal filing fees has got nothing to do with your assessed income, and as such, the extra filing fee was paid for 3 years. So it was mentioned to the tribunal. The tribunal accepted that yes, it has excess. The appeal filing fees has been paid excess, and the tribunal directed the registry as regards balance rupees 28,500 to be either adjusted if supposing there are any other cases of the SSC which are there, and appeal filing fees challan is to be paid, the same to be adjusted, or if there is nothing of in such nature, then the same to be refunded within a period of 1 month from the date of receipt of the order. So if supposing sometimes if it does happen that and similarly also keep in mind, even the penalty matters, the appeal filing fees is not 10,000 because again that has got nothing, penalty matter has got nothing to do with your assessment. Appeal filing fee for penalty matters under section 271(1)(c) would also fall under residuary clause D, and only 500 rupees is the appeal filing fees to the tribunal. Now coming to the facts of this case, what happened over here was that the assessee had purchased the flat from a builder. The builder was subsequently searched, alleged that the builder maintains parallel books of account as regards cash received from the flat buyers. Builder filed an application before the settlement commission. The assessing officer in the case of the assessee made an addition on the basis of the aforesaid facts that the builder has accepted that there is on money which has received from the assessee and also various assessee concerned. Therefore, the assessing officer here went on to make the addition on the facts which were there as regards the on money which is involved in this case. The CITAP, however, deleted the addition. Tribunal chose not to file. The tribunal deleted that whatever the builder may have said before the settlement commission, or may have said that this is the on money, but that does not mean that the assessee concerned has given any on money. The CIT appeal has deleted the addition. The department chose not to file an appeal with the tribunal. However, later on, the commissioner, by virtue of powers under section 263, wanted to revise the assessment order. It was held by the tribunal that the provisions of section 263 are very clear. Provisions of 263 shall extend to such matters as has not been considered and decided in such appeal. The proviso very clearly mentions so, but the issue involved in this case was as regards the on money, for which the commissioner was wanting to do a 263, that same on money which was deleted by the CIT appeal. Tribunal in 263 said that no, this cannot be done by the 263. Therefore, appeal of the assessee was allowed, and order passed by the principal CIT under section 263 was quashed. So this is also one of the matters. This also can be attributed to cases of bogus purchases, which we see, where the assessing officer has done an addition of 12.5%. Assessee filed an appeal with the CIT appeal. CIT appeal has not accepted that 12.5%. We have filed an appeal with the tribunal. Commissioner, thereafter, the commissioner wanted to revise the order of the assessing officer, saying that 12.5% was not correct. It should have been 100%, and it cannot be done so because the proviso does not allow the commissioner to deal with the same matter for which the appeal has been filed and the appeal has been decided. So similar can be decided can be seen in bogus purchase matters also, if at all it is there. Coming to the next decision, now this is in the case of Dhiren Vora. This is an order passed by the tribunal in a miscellaneous application. This is not only Dhiren Vora. There are many other assessees which are there over here in this case which are mentioned. Over here, what happened was the tribunal had dismissed the appeal of the revenue on the ground of low tax effect, that is below 50 lakhs, the tax effect. Thereafter, the tribunal department filed the miscellaneous application requesting the tribunal to recall the order based on circular number 23 of 2019. The department has also issued an office memorandum dated 16 September. However, the tribunal held that, okay, this is fair enough. This circular is there, the office note is there. Sorry. However, this will not be applicable to the appeals which have been decided by the tribunal on low tax effect. It will be effective only prospectively and to the appeals which are to be decided in future and not to those appeals which have been already decided by the tribunal. In this case, Ahmedabad tribunal of in the case of Dhiren Vora and others have relied on the Jaipur tribunal in the case in MA number 23 Jaipur 2020, which were on similar facts. Coming to the next decision in the case of Jolly Single for assessment year 11-12. This is ITA number 1076 Jaipur 2019. Again, the aspect of low tax effect. What happened over here was that information received from the investigation wing of the department, whether it will be considered to be covered in clause E of the exceptions as regards the low tax circular. See, there is an exception in clause E which mentions the various authorities, the CBI, the Department of GST is concerned, and so on. So whether the information, and there are a couple of more, so whether the information from the investigation wing would be considered to be the external source, tribunal held that no, it would not be considered to be an exception and therefore would not be in the exceptions to the low tax effect circular, and this could still be decided and dismissed. Again, Jaipur tribunal here also has relied on one of its earlier orders in ITA number 627 Jaipur 2019. So this is what I wanted to discuss with you as regards the couple of matters on low tax effect which have been decided. One is an MA and the other is an ITS also. Next is as regards the decision of Kalyanji Velji HUF. This is for assessment years 10-11 and other assessment years, and the appeal is 2284M19 with other appeals. Now, in this case, before I go to read the judgment, what happened was that there was an assessee who was searched. Now, when he was searched, his mobile phone and the WhatsApp, there were certain chats which were found, which were as regards the on money. Now, Kalyanji Velji was a developer. He had developed the building. There was this assessee who was searched, whose the WhatsApp chat was there relating to on money which was there. Now, that was not that this chat was between the assessee who was searched and Kalyanji Velji. It was just a normal chat. Now, but relating to the project which was done by Kalyanji Velji. So Kalyanji Velji, as I said, the assessee was not searched. It was one Mr. A who was searched. The WhatsApp was there. So what the officer of this Mr. A who was searched did was that he supplied this information to Kalyanji Velji's officer, and Kalyanji Velji's officer in this case did a reopen the matters under section 148, asking to explain that this WhatsApp chat, though the chat is not between you two, but it talks about the flat in which has been made by Kalyanji Velji, and therefore by the addition under section 68 for the on money which is there, which was there, should not be made in your case. Now, in this case, the assessment was challenged under section on the ground that the assessment, if at all, was to be done by the assessing officer of Kalyanji Velji, it should have been under 153C and it should not have been under section 148. The Commissioner Appeals rejected this argument. However, the tribunal accepted this argument and have also dealt with the amendment brought about in section 153C. And in this case, yes, the amended provisions were applicable, because what happened was that the search on that Mr. A had taken place after 1st June 2015. Why this date of 1st June 2015? Because in 153C there is a change, because I'll just read this from the Act. See, prior, what the 153C section read was, notwithstanding anything contained in section 139, 147, section 148, 149, 151, and 153C, and where the assessing officer is satisfied that any money, bullion, jewelry, or any other valuable article or thing, or books of accounts or documents seized or requisitioned belongs to a person other than the person referred to in 153A, then the books of accounts or documents or assets seized or requisitioned shall be handed over to the assessing officer having jurisdiction. This is as it stood prior. Now, after that, there is a change with effect from 1st June. And as I said, search on Mr. A was after 1st June, therefore the amended provisions applied. Any money, see, because it was an impossibility for any books of accounts or other documents seized or requisitioned belonged to. So instead of belong to, because the High Court has said that belongs to is an impossibility, and therefore they have now substituted with the words pertains to. And once it was said that it was pertains to, the case of Kalyanji Velji was there, and having not done a 153C but having done a 148, 153C having an overriding section, the assessment done was held to be bad in law. In fact, even on merits, it was there that the addition could not have been done under section 68, because 68 talks of where any sum is found credited in the books of accounts of the assessee, and on money was never credited in the books of accounts of the assessee concerned, and therefore section 68 also could not have been invoked by the assessing officer. Aspect of cross-examination was also discussed, because in this case what happened was, during the course of assessment proceeding, what happened was that Kalyanji Velji, represented through the Karta, Mr. A, who was searched, and the flat buyers, all three were called upon by the assessing officer during the course of assessment proceedings, and the flat buyer denied of any cash which was given by them. Kalyanji Velji obviously had no role to play in this. Assessee said that this chats which were there was nothing relating to this, but was only a communication which was dumb in nature. And this, on this aspect as well, the tribunal has deleted the addition. Coming to the next decision in the case of Bike Hospitality, this is an ITA number 7208M18. It was here. What happened was, I had argued that we had argued that CITA appeal had confirmed the levy of the penalty under section 270 and 1C. The AO had initiated the penalty in the assessment order itself for furnishing of inaccurate particulars of income. Later on, the AO issued the notice under section 274, read with section 271, wherein the AO did not tick mark the relevant limb. Thereafter, but however, in the assessment order, as I mentioned, it was mentioned that it is being initiated for furnishing inaccurate particulars of income. In the penalty order, the AO mentions clause B to explanation 1 of section 271(1)(c) is applicable in the present case. What we argued here was that clause B to explanation 1 of section 271(1)(c) is applicable for concealment of income, and whereas the assessing officer has initiated the penalty in the assessment order for furnishing of inaccurate particulars of income, and hence having initiated for one limb, he could not have gone on to levy it on another limb directly. Bombay High Court in the case of Samson Perencheri, in fact Samson Perencheri in the tribunal, we had argued, and that it has been accepted by the Bombay High Court. Accordingly, the penalty order in this case was held to be not valid and was quashed because of this. Because if you will read the provisions of the explanation B to section of clause B to explanation 1 to section 271(1)(c), you will find out that it is deemed that it is for concealment of income, and once this was invoked, and assessing officer having initiated for furnishing of inaccurate particulars income, the assessee he could not have levied it for concealment of income. So this is the next decision of Bike Hospitality Limited. The next decision over here is in the case of Shelf Drilling Ron Tapmere Limited. This is reported decision of Mumbai Tribunal 123 taxman.com 49. This is an interesting decision. See, I'll just read it. What happened here was that for assessment year 14-15, assessee's books of account was rejected and assessee's claim for loss of rupees 81 crores was declined. However, on appeal, the coordinate bench of the tribunal had remitted the matter to the assessing officer to frame a de novo assessment. So 14-15 loss of 81 crores was declined in which was 81 crores was the returned loss. The assessing officer had come to after having rejected this loss had come to a certain income. Appeal was filed to the Commission of Appeals. This was in the case of DRP, and then from the DRP to the tribunal. The tribunal had set aside the matter to the assessing officer to do. However, for assessment year 16-17 and 17-18, there was 20.30 crore and 18.44 crore respectively. There was a set-off which was there, which could not be declined in view of the fact that returns for these years were filed prior to appellate order. So these years, the set-off which was there for this loss of 81 crores, subsequently there would have been income for 16-17 and 17-18. This loss of 81 crores, the set-off was disallowed. The tribunal said that no, this disallowance cannot be, this set-off cannot be disallowed. It has been set aside, and let the AO pass the order, and it is only a matter of time that it would get substituted. But for 16-17 and 17-18, the assessing officer could not have passed an order saying that 81 crores has been added and therefore we are not allowing the set-off. That was not permissible and was held to be incorrect. The next decision is in the case of Grasim Industries Limited. This again is a reported decision in 122 taxman.com, again 249. This again is a Mumbai tribunal. Now here what happened was that power of recovering disputed tax are with the assessing officer. The assessing officer has the power to recover the taxes which are due. Once the assessing officer has himself decided not to take any coercive action for time being and direct assessee to make payment of any disputed demands, it cannot be open for the tribunal. See, assessing officer here had accepted that okay, no coercive action would be taken, nothing would be done. It cannot be for the tribunal to direct any payment to be made by the assessee. Question of tribunal would have become relevant only when the tribunal was dealing with the stay matter. Demands in respect of collection / recovery of tax and interest was raised. A conscious decision was taken by the revenue authorities not to take any coercive action for the time being. See, we are going through COVID times. It is quite possible that the officer accepted not to take any coercive actions. The AO did not wish to recover the demands in hope that as a law-abiding corporate citizen, assessee would voluntarily to cooperate with the income tax department, and the AO chose to wait till a suitable clarification was obtained from the High Court. There was a 226 order which was passed, which was challenged in this case by Grasim to the High Court. Whether powers of recovering disputed taxes are with the AO, and again, I'm reading it. Once the AO has himself decided not to take any coercive action for making of any payments, it could not be open for the tribunal to direct the assessee to make any such payment. Question of directions by tribunal would have relevancy only where tribunal was to pass any order in stay is concerned. So this is in the case of Grasim, again a recent decision. Again, another recent decision of this is in the case of Kashmir Road Lines, which is in 123 taxman.com 5. This is Amritsar Tribunal, where assessee's claim for now here there was we dealt with condonation of CIT appeal. How will they do it? I just explained the mechanism as to how the CIT appeal would condone the delay. Now coming to the one of the decisions on condonation of delay, which says that where assessee claimed condonation of delay of 124 days in filing appeal due to the reason. Now the reason which was given over here was that appeal papers were prepared and handed over to the assistant of the assessee's counsel for filing, who failed to do so, and ultimately appeal was filed belatedly through another local council, and such contention was also supported by affidavit of the previous council, since assessee had demonstrated bona fide reason. So technical, there's an old decision which says that technical consideration, whereas pitted over against a factual matter, the technical should not prevail. It is the weightage should be given to the fact, and the delay over there also was condoned, and sufficient cause was found over here also, and the delay got condoned. Where assessee filed an appeal against, now the another aspect of this decision was that where an appeal where assessee filed an appeal against the assessment order before the CIT appeal. However, the assessee neither attended appellate proceedings nor filed any adjournment application, and therefore the CIT appeal, observing that assessee was not interested in pursuing the appeal, dismissed its appeal, since CIT appeal did not pass. So the order was dismissed in limine. It was not discussed on merits. Same was to be set aside, because now there is High Court as well on this issue, that CIT appeal cannot dismiss an appeal on limine. It has to pass an order, even if it's an ex parte order, and was not done so. The tribunal has remanded the matter back to the CIT appeal for passing a fresh order on merits. Next decision is in the case of, this is a decision of Hyderabad Tribunal. Again, it's a reported decision, a recent decision on 122taxman.com 169, Santosh Kumar Subani. This is dealing with capital gains on account of, see, there are various forms of development agreements which take place between the landowner and a developer who wants to come in. Society is also involved sometimes, so it can be a peculiar matter, peculiar set of facts could be involved. It is not, again, the matters are similar. Various development agreements we see time and again happen. So in this case, what happened was that section 247, which talks of transfer capital gains. Now, joint development agreement was entered. Assessee had entered into a joint development agreement for construction of duplex houses, and assessee was to receive for area of 5,000 square feet by virtue of development agreement. So in the new thing, we would receive 5,000 square feet. So naturally, 247 relinquishment of the asset was there, and therefore capital gain got triggered. However, what happened in this case was that after entering into the agreement, the developer vanished, and neither any development had taken place nor developed area was received. That is, this new area of 5,000 square feet was received by the assessee. This fact was verified and confirmed by the assessing officer himself. From above, it was clear that only notional income as per development agreement had been received by the assessee. However, no real income was received. Further, till date, development agreement had not been cancelled and no public notice was issued. So basically, it was status quo. Nothing happened whatsoever after that for cancellation of development agreement. Whether, therefore, issue was required to, so here all these aspects, because the cancellation of development agreement was not there, no public notice was not given. So the tribunal found it necessary, but however, the assessing officer had himself made a mention that yes, there is nothing which has happened as regards this. So the tribunal set the matter aside back to the AO with a direction to decide capital gains after verifying whether possession was taken back by the assessee of the land which was given to the developer or not, and
क्या हुआ सर नीलकंठ सर?
Yes, sir. I think मेरे को एक message आया था, your connection has been lost. अभी आ गया, it has been
हाँ
re-established.
हाँ अभी अभी ओके हो गया, आपका नेटवर्क शायद स्लो हो गया था, अभी कंटिन्यू चालू रखिए।
Yeah. Can I go ahead?
स्लाइड शो पे कर दीजिए सर।
Yes, yes. Yes. Yeah, you can hear me, right? Vaibhav, audible है?
यस सर।
Yes, yes. Sorry, there was some connection error. Whether therefore, sorry, so having discussed this decision that joint development agreement would depend on the peculiar facts of the case, and in this case, it was seen that there was nothing which was which happened. In fact, the developer was also not there, so the matter was set aside by the tribunal to verify this aspect and accordingly decide if suppose they have come back to their originals, there can be no capital gains tax. The next decision here is in the case of Mr. Uddhav Krishna Bankar. This is 121 taxman.com 53 Pune Tribunal. This is an important decision, but again, this decision has happened earlier also, but this is, since it was a recent decision, I thought to share it with you. Section 54B of the capital gains, transfer of land used for agricultural purpose in the capital gains scheme account. Assessment year is 1213. Assessee had sold the agricultural land over here on 12/10/2011 and filed its return of income declaring long-term capital gain after claiming exemption under 54B towards purchase of another agricultural land. The AO, however, denied assessee's claim under 54B on the ground that she did not deposit the amount of capital gains in the designated capital gains scheme account with the bank before the due date for filing of return under section 139(1). It was held, however, it was done before 139(4) return was filed. It was held that 139(4) is to be considered as a proviso to 139(1), and since it has been filed within the time of the belated return, the benefit of this should be allowed. And assessee opened a bank account under designated capital gain scheme on 3rd August 2013 and purchased a new property on 26th August, which was well within the period of 2 years from the date of transfer. Whether therefore assessee has complied with 54B2 in light of the section could not be denied to the benefit of 54B could not be denied to the concerned assessee over here. So 139(4), there are, as I said, there are decisions in the past as well, but this was some a recent decision on this, that 139(4) is to be read in conjunction or is to be read as a proviso to 139(1) and not independent of it. And if it has been done within the 139(4) return due date, then the benefit should be given to the assessee. Next decision is in the case of Bunyad Developers Private Limited. This is Delhi Tribunal, 120 taxman.com 31. Minimum alternate tax exemption under section 10. Assessment year 910. Whether where income which is exempt under here inadvertently an income which was exempt under section 10 was included in the book profit under 115 JB, which could not be done. Obviously 115 JB, there are certain additions and there are certain, it's a self-contained code as it is said, and there are certain additions and there are certain deductions which are there. So section 10 was to be reduced income according with the 150 JB by reducing the amount of income to which 10 applies. Which was inadvertently not done. The tribunal held that this should have been the case because 115 JB specifically provides for exclusion of section 10 other than section 1038 obviously, which is an exception to that. So here it was held yes, it should be reduced. Next decision is in the case of G. Vijay Padma. This is Bangalore Tribunal. This is a decision which is in favor of the revenue. This is section 214 capital asset rural agricultural land. Assessment year involved was 78. So rural agricultural land is not a capital asset and therefore no capital gains tax. However, an urban or other than a rural agricultural land is a capital asset, and transfer on that would give rise to capital gains tax. Assessee here had sold a land and claimed that as rural agricultural land, and thus proceeds were exempt from tax. AO disallowed the claim of the assessee and treated the land as a capital asset. it was noted that records of land produced by assessee did not show any crop which was grown. I'll share with you, I have seen one of the orders where the assessing officer in fact had also taken a view of the land and had shown that there and taken photographs that there was nothing which was cultivated. Not in this case, but I'm sharing it with you. I've come across such matter, and here it was only mentioned that no crop was grown on such land. Thus, such records of land could not be considered as conclusive evidence to prove that assessee's only land was agricultural land. Assessee had not placed any other evidence, only other than the land records, nothing was shown to show that the impugned land was an agricultural land, and it had only relied on the sad land record, that is the further assessee had not claimed any expenses incurred in carrying out of any agricultural operations. There was no evidence of agricultural produce having been sold by the assessee. Further, land was situated in area which was an upcoming residential area with many upcoming private residential flats to be built. Land sold by assessee was in middle of an area where huge development activity was carried out by the builders. Sale price was received by assessee was very high, which is a non. So basically, all the factors which were there were being, or see, it is not that only that one of these factors, but all the factors culminated to give such an order by the tribunal that the matter was decided against the assessee in this case, whether on facts land sold by assessee would not be considered as an agricultural land, and the same was to be treated as a capital asset within the meaning of the capital asset to be taxed as capital gains. This decision, I believe I have already discussed. I'm sorry, there is a repetition of this decision. Coming to the next decision, this is the decision of Bangalore Tribunal. This is Valencia Nutrition Limited, 120 taxman.com 238. Again, an important decision from the point of view of section 5627B and rule 11 UA, where the shares are issued either by DCF method or the net asset value method. Here in this case, what happened was that the AO changed the method, that from DCF changed it to net asset method. The tribunal said that no, you cannot do so. You have to restrict yourself to the method which has been followed by the assessee. The AO, here I'll just read this decision. The AO should scrutinize the valuation report prepared under DCF method, and if necessary, he can carry out fresh valuation either by himself or by calling a final determination from an independent valuer. This is something which is important. He says that the tribunal says that the assessing officer may himself call for it, or by calling a final determination from an independent valuer to confront the assessee. He cannot change, however, the method, and he has to follow the DCF method which has been followed. An assessee company engaged in business of manufacturing of energy drinks had issued shares at a share premium, but the AO took a view that the share valuation under DCF method had been carried out on the basis of projections and estimations given by management, and the value of shares could be based on net asset method mentioned in rule 11 UA, and accordingly AO worked out net asset method and assessed excess share premium as income under the head income from other sources under section 5627B. Since AO had proceeded to determine value of shares by adopting a different method without scrutinizing the valuation report furnished by the assessee under DCF method, matter was to be set aside to the AO to decide the issue afresh. So these are some of the recent decisions which I have discussed. Now let me discuss two decisions. I have not mentioned the facts over here because in this case the orders are yet awaited of the tribunal. I have had an occasion to share my personal indulgence in these matters because see what in the first let me discuss in the case of Al Ghurair construction. I'll come to the decision of Gevarchand Shah in a moment. The decision of Al Ghurair Foundations India Private Limited. This is Mumbai Tribunal. The matter is heard, the order awaited. What happened in this matter was that on 30th of December, as I said, it's a personal experience which I'm sharing. On 30th of December, around about 11:30 in the morning, I got a call from one of my clients saying that there is this company by the name Al Ghurair Construction Foundation India Private Limited. In this case, they had a CIT appeal order which was passed, but the appeal to the tribunal was not filed, and therefore the appeal was not pending as is defined under Vivad Se Vishwas, and therefore the assessee cannot go because the appeal was not pending as on 31st January. The Commissioner of Appeals order was passed somewhere in 2018. So the appeal was not pending. So what should be done? This was at 11:30 in the morning. I immediately, this was to the instructing chartered accountant. I immediately told him that we should file an appeal with the tribunal with a request for condonation. And mind well, this is, as I said, 11:30 in the morning. The extension of Vivad Se Vishwas from 31st December to 31st January happened somewhere in the evening at around 5 o'clock. And this we are talking of 11:30. So what we decided was that immediately we file an appeal with the tribunal with a request for condonation of delay. Immediately we also write a letter to the Honorable Vice President of the tribunal that this matter be listed for hearing tomorrow itself, that is 31st December, because if my delay is condoned by the tribunal, the appeal becomes pending and I can go for Vivad Se Vishwas. So all this sequence of events happened between 11:30 in the morning till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where we immediately filed an appeal with the tribunal. We also prepared a condonation petition, got it franked, got it notarized, filed a letter with the Honorable Vice President, requesting an urgent listing of the matter, because after 31st December, I could not have gone for the scheme. As I said, this is pre 5 o'clock before the extension of time. The Honorable Vice President accepted to all the requests that yes, because of the peculiar facts involved in this case, the appeal should be heard tomorrow, that is on 31st December. And if at all the bench decides to condone the delay, considering it to be a reasonable cause, the assessee can then go for it. Else, if the appeal would get, if suppose the tribunal decides that it is not a reasonable cause, the appeal gets dismissed. So immediately all this was done, and on 31st January, the matter got listed for hearing. Now, as I said, this is what we could do. In the evening of 30th of December, there was an extension, but at least we tried everything. And if suppose there would have not been an extension, we could have done this. In any view of the matter, this was now heard. And yes, as I said, the order is awaited from the tribunal, only for condoning the delay so that the assessee could. So this was the affidavit which was quickly prepared, and the facts which were mentioned, that I am managing director of Al Ghurair, so that the order of the CIT appeal for income tax was served only on this date, that the appeal against the order was due to be filed before the tribunal on 6th March, that the company was engaged in the business of setting up a foundation. However, the company did not have any contracts on hand, and in 2017, it has not had any employees who could look after the day-to-day operations, and as such, the appeal. This was a fact which was mentioned because this is a fact that they were not having any employees, they were not having any business also. That today, that is where I said today, because on 30th December, the company was filing Vivad Se Vishwas form for another year. This was for other year. The tribunal, the client were filing for 12-13 and immediately realized that there is this matter for 13-14 for which appeal has not been filed, and hence immediately informed the chartered accountant to pay, and the same has been filed on 30th December with a delay. I further request that the delay may be condoned. So this is something which happened as regards the Vivad Se Vishwas, which I wanted to just elaborate upon. I said I'll come to the decision of Giver Chand Shah in a moment. The Giver Chand Shah again was on this issue only. In fact, this was heard by the Honorable Vice President of the tribunal at Mumbai. In this case, it was prior to the FAQs which have now come, that the delay has to be condoned for the appeal to be considered to be pending before opting for Vivad Se Vishwas. In this matter was heard prior to the FAQs which have come for that, and we informed the tribunal that this difficulty is there. The tribunal here accepted that okay, that we are condoning your delay and you may go for Vivad Se Vishwas. So this again, this order is awaited. Therefore, I have not put it this, but these are the two decisions which are there for Vivad Vishwas, which I wanted to share with you. Last decision. This is again, this is a decision. A recent decision of Delhi Tribunal in ITA number 6863. This is again in favor of the revenue. I'll just read this decision. And this case, it's a 263 matter. What happened was that the case of the assessee was selected for scrutiny under CAS for limited scrutiny for examination of substantial increase in capital in year part A of the balance sheet of the ITR, which reason code so and so, in order to check whether the capital is genuine and from disclosed sources. The assessing officer, however, accepted the returned income as such. Subsequently, the commissioner has done a 263, which was the reason for issue of show cause notice was on the ground that in the absence of proper verification and investigation by the AO on this issue, the assessment order is erroneous and prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. The assessee had submitted its reply on this date, stating that the transaction entered into by the assessee is genuine transaction. This is a case of penny stock which happened, and all the information, documents, and evidences regarding the sale and purchase of the shares were submitted to the AO. The assessee claimed that it has submitted the copies of the purchase bills, demat account, holding statement, bank statement, broker account, contract notes before the AO. It also stated that the transaction compliance with all the as regards 1038 have been made. However, the principal CIT held that the share purchase so cheaply are sold at a fancy price needs a satisfactory explanation with supporting documents. He held that even during the hearing under 263, no such evidence were produced. This is an important fact in this decision. He further held that the assessment lacked the necessary inquiries on the genuineness of the capital gains exempt, and therefore the order passed by the AO is erroneous, as it has resulted into an escapement of income prejudicial to the revenue. The appeal was filed to the tribunal in this case. The tribunal has dismissed the appeal of the assessee. They have mentioned that on careful examination of the whole issue, it is apparent that the AO did not carry out any inquiry with respect to the long-term capital gain claimed by the assessee under 1038. On careful perusal of the order passed by the principal CIT, we found that necessary inquiries were made by principal CIT on this issue. Therefore, on this account, no fault could be found under 263, and hence the 263, the appeal against the order passed by the principal CIT by the assessee is being dismissed. And as I said, this was decided in favor of the revenue on these accounts. So these are the recent decisions which I said which may have a bearing on our day-to-day practices, which we could be handling before the CIT appeal or before the tribunal, which I thought would help us. So this is all as regards the presentation of faceless appeal and also recent decisions of ITAT. And any questions, be it for faceless assessment or appeal, or be it for any of these decisions which we have discussed, I throw it open for you to ask.
तो खत्म हो गया सर आपका?
हाँ, या भाई बाबा, I'm done. मैं ये बंद कर दूं?
हाँ सर, बंद करिए, 2 मिनट देखता हूँ क्वेश्चन कितना है सर.
Yes.
सर क्वेश्चन देखिए.
हाँ, आप थोड़ा ऊपर जाएंगे क्योंकि
ओके.
Yes. मैं पढ़ूं? Can I read?
हाँ सर.
Yeah. To whom do I write, stroke from whom to upload any due certificate requests, other requests to AO? Due certificate. My apologies, but if you can throw some light as to what due certificates is one you are harping on. After all the questions are over, I'll come back to this question. If you can throw some light as to what due certificate you are asking for. The faceless assessment notice is digitally signed by an AO. We can read the name. Does it mean he is the assessing officer? In case one of our clients, we observe that while doing limited scrutiny, they have asked clarification details. Oh, I think there are many questions in this question. One second. So let me take. The faces has been notices from. In case he or clients, we have observed that while doing limited scrutiny, they have asked. Yes, this is there that they have asked for detailed points. So in the case of a limited scrutiny as well, this yes we are all have come across. So we have submitted majority of them by way of partial submitting. However, the same set of questions have been asked again. This has happened more than twice. What is the recourse? I think you can write a letter also mentioning these facts that this has happened. Do they send the draft order to the SSC? No, they will not send the draft order to the SSC. What is the procedure for opting of the physical hearing? Yes, procedure opted for it will be through a video conferencing mode, but as I mentioned, it will have to be the principal CCIT or the DGIT have to accept it, and then it can go for a personal hearing. It is not that it can go that we make a request and with the prior, and that too later on it will be with the prior approval of the board. If appeal was filed physical mode and forget to file e-filing same 16. No, so this is not, because if the appeal has not been filed e-filed, that it has been there is no appeal that lies. One of my clients is willing to appeal against the order under section 200A. Now, possible to. No, is it possible? It is again matter of fact, but the delays have been condoned. Long number of delays have also been condoned, but it will all depend on the facts, as I said, read out from the affidavits which were there. So, condonation of delay is totally a factual matter. Is demand on account of 26 whether tax deductor has listed on the yes, this is something which is absurd, but as in not the question, but yeah, this is there, but you'll have to file and hope for the responses to come. How would remand proceedings? The only thing that I can say is you'll have to continue with writing the correspondences and getting it corrected. How would remand proceedings be handled? Whether additional evidence be sent to the rejection? Yes. So the remand proceeding, I'll just repeat again. So what would happen is, if supposing in the remand proceedings, the appeal units writes to the National Faceless Appeal Center. The National Faceless Appeal Center writes it to the National E-Assessment Center or the assessment unit. Let us first concentrate on National E-Assessment Center. Over there, the National E-Assessment Center will then communicate to the assessment unit, and again the chain would flow. So this is how it will happen. It will happen in this sequence. It will not be that the appeal unit directly writes to the National E-Assessment Center. It will write to the National Faceless Appeal Center. National Faceless Appeal Center writes to the NEAC or to the assessment unit, gets it, and then supplies it and moves it ahead to the appeal unit. वैभव इतने ही है. Okay. The AO has asked to complete sub accounts, copies of purchase sales. Yes, I think this you have asked in the previous. How to respond is again very difficult. It is we see no response is only going to hamper our clients. So we will have to write replies, mention that this is the facts involved in the case. This is what is there, and then let them reply after seeing. They still insist again, you will have to, the correspondences will have to be repeated, to and fro correspondences, but we can't just sit over it. What is the limit of disputed tax amount? Oh no, there's nothing like a disputed tax amount in faceless appeal. Can you, during the course of assessment? No, this is, can he call for 142(1) gives him the powers to call for the details of the earlier years. So yes, he can if he's wanting to see these details. How do we make any requests which were earlier discussed here under? Or this is that same question as what you have. Are you talking of a 281 certificate? If you can just say yes or a no. See, jurisdictional assessing officer. Oh, I think, okay, I've understood. Like, yes, no due tax certificate and everything for a company under liquidation. See, jurisdictional assessing officer still remains. In fact, they have been cast upon to do certain work as well. Not that after faceless they will not be doing anything. See, after the final order is passed in the assessment, as I said, non-assessment work is also there, which is as regards rectification, collection of demand, prosecution and compounding matters, effect order of the CIT appeal and tribunal. This will be done by the non-assessment charge which would be there. So the non-assessment charge is still there. It is not that the non-assessment charge has gone. It is only for the assessment that it goes there. After completion of assessment, it comes back to the non-assessment charge. So you can approach the non-assessment charge for your no due tax certificate. Is faceless assessment notice and digitally signed? Does it mean he's an assessing officer? This is what is there. It has to be digitally signed because it is required for them. Is it that is the assessing officer or not? This is difficult to answer because no one knows who the assessing officer is in the faceless regime. If erroneously we have accepted one, but it is factually wrong. You'll have to file an appeal and get it rectified. That is it, Vaibhav?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope I've covered all the questions which were there.
Okay, sir.
Yes, all fine. Also. Vaibhav, anything?
क्वेश्चन आ रहा है सर, देख लेता सर.
हाँ, अब और क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं
सर. क्वेश्चन नंबर 6 एक बार देख लीजिए ना सर. क्वेश्चन नंबर 6. सर ये क्वेश्चन नंबर, उसका क्वेश्चन
6 ना.
हाँ सर, उसका आंसर वापस रिपीट कर दीजिए ना.
Yes. See, remand proceedings in the case of additional evidences. There is the appeal unit. Okay, now the appeal, there has been additional evidences which have been filed. The appeal unit will not directly communicate with the National E-Assessment Center or the assessment unit. The appeal unit writes to the National Faceless Appeal Center. The National Faceless Appeal Center writes to the NEAC. The NEAC in turn gives it to the respective unit, and after having received the reply from the respective unit, it goes to the NEAC. And NEAC gives it to the National Faceless Appeal Center. National Faceless Appeal Center then gives it to the appeal unit. This is how the chain of additional evidences would flow. And obviously this I have talked about their side, and our side, I presume that to the additional evidences remand report which the appeal unit received, we will also will get a same from the National Faceless Appeal Center, and we will be able to file our reply to the same. Sir, one of my client has filed 3CD for 1899, which was digitally signed by some others here now due to some difference. My apologies. I'll have to see this as to what can happen in such a situation. I will not be able to offhand answer this because I'll search for this question of yours. If you can, my number is there. If you can contact me, then we can discuss it out. I'll have to do the research before I opine on this. Or if someone can throw some light on this, very well.
Okay. Okay. अलकेश सर, हाँ सर.
Hello.
हाँ सर, ऑडियो.
Yeah, I am audible. So on behalf of WRC, I express my sincere gratitude and thanks to our today's speaker, CA Neelkanth Khandelwal, for giving very nice presentation and guiding our members on faceless assessment. And thank you, Lalit bhai, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Neelkanth,
Thank
sorry,
you,
sir.
Vaibhav. Thank you. Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Bye.
Bye bye, sir. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
day. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Bye. Good night, sir.
Bye. Good night.